right, guys, this is Squawk episode number 17. Our guest today, let me pull up, is Daniel Pittman. He's a founder, a blockchain visionary, and entrepreneur. Daniel has been actively involved in the blockchain industry since 2011 and coding smart contracts since 2017. Some of his more notable projects include creating the blockchain games dAppCapps and Hashkings. I actually do know of those. Among others, Daniel holds an Associate of Science with a focus in computer science from PCC in Portland, Oregon. So welcome to the show, Daniel.
Yeah, welcome, Daniel. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much. As it goes, you know the drill with Squawk Experience. We pick a drink to fit the profile of our guest. When I think of Oregon, I think of autumn and lots of nice color-changing leaves. So I have a nice Samuel Adams seasonal Jack O pumpkin ale, nice creamy, tastes like liquid pumpkin pie stout. Unfortunately, we don't have a sponsorship from Sam Adams, but Sam Adams, if you liked how I blew you up, help a brother out.
That was a great one. Hashtag what drink are you?
Sam Adams.
Yeah, man. I just got a very simple drink today. I kind of got a vibe that you're from like Eastern European descent. Based on looking at some of your profile, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just brought myself some vodka for the show. So cheers to you, Daniel.
Well, I'm not Eastern European, but man, you can't go wrong with vodka.
That is my de facto drink. Yeah. So.
Oh man, I don't miss very much, but this is the first for everything. All right. So yeah, cheers to our guests.
Although I'm saving the grain alcohol for when we have John McAfee on our show again.
Oh, you guys actually had him on your show? That's great.
That's awesome. we had John McAfee on. It was like Squawk episode 11 or something like that.
I believe it was 11. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're actually working on getting him on again. So he's kind of a fan favorite for obvious reasons. So.
Well, yeah. Oh, that's really great, man. What drink is he?
I selected a Grolsch for him.
Okay.
This
next time he's going to be a proper grain alcohol because he kind of goes.
Yeah. No, we actually had our first alcohol sponsor on that show. Shout out to Lake Start Brewing.
Lake Start in the Poorhouse over in Tampa. Actually working on getting some deals with some more deals with them. So like John McAfee said, the best alcohol is the one you don't have to pay for.
I'm gonna drink to that.
Cheers.
So Daniel, why don't you tell us about yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, I'm the founder and creator of etherchest.com. It's basically an Ethereum 2.0 staking service. I started way back in 2011, just kind of getting involved with learning about Bitcoin, and my friends were using it, and I moved out here to Portland, Oregon, and about 2013 or whenever the Occupy was, it was like 2011 to 2013.
Something like that, yeah.
We had a huge thing down here in Portland, and I was like, man, it's kind of a little bit too crazy for me to go down there and protest maybe, but how can I help out? What is it that I can do that'll kind of to help make a difference in this? And I figured, man, maybe it seems banks, maybe I can stop giving the banks my money, so I typed that into Google. I said, how do I use money without a bank? And the first thing that popped up was Bitcoin. And I was like, oh, that's stuff that my buddy was using to buy drugs? That's still around? And, so then I start researching it. And before I knew it, I was running an Antminer S1 in my living room downstairs in this house, actually, still in the same place. And it was my little space heater. I was earning a little bit every week. In today's money, I was earning quite a bit every week. Back then, I was like, hey, it's $25. Right on, dude. I've got a little extra spending money, whatever it is, right? So I did that for a little while, and the price kind of went upside down, and I was like, man, I'll just buy it. I don't have to mine it anymore. So I got rid of my miner, and I started kind of trading and getting involved with all the different altcoins. And yeah, before too long, it was about 2017 is when I started getting really into Ethereum and the Ethereum virtual machine, coding smart contracts. And yeah, I mean, and here we are, here we are with a brand new project. So
Very interesting, and congratulations on that. So I noticed there's quite a bit of civil unrest again. How's the situation where you are in Oregon?
I mean, I gotta say, right here in my neighborhood, I live in the on the what they call the peninsula up north in North Portland, and we're in our own little bubble, and nobody really bugs us too much. I mean, of course there's bits of protests, but very peaceful in our neighborhood.
That's
People,
great.
just walking down the
How about
street
the
with
weather?
signs.
How about
Oh,
the
the
weather?
weather,
Still
man. The
smoky out
weather
there?
is yeah, well, it was really smoky, like the California stuff, and then we got it in Washington, and it was so smoky. I was dying, man. Like the first couple of days, I'm like, oh, whatever, this is fine. But man, after like 4 days, I'm just hacking up, and I'm like, dude, I got the Rona. I'm fucked. Like, and then finally, the smoke, the wind changed, and it blew the smoke.
Yeah, I think it went east. I think it went east because all the weather reporters were saying,
Yeah,
now that stuff is flying to
exactly.
New York.
Yeah, exactly. People are
New York's problem
like,
now.
oh, I think we got your smoke. I'm like, oh, you got my smoke? Well, okay, crazy. Yeah, and but, ever since then, it's typical Portland falls are coming. So
Yeah.
it's rainy, it's cloudy, and we love it here though. So we love the rain and the clouds.
Yeah, I've spent some time out in Vancouver, BC, so it's not too far away from
Yeah,
from where you guys are. But man, the scenery, the weather out there is fantastic.
dude, it's great. It really
Yeah.
is. It really is. Yeah. The
What's the
summertime is
coldest it
better.
gets?
Sorry.
What's the coldest it gets out there?
It snows here. It'll
Oh,
snow.
wow.
It'll get to it'll get to freezing. The snow will stick around for a couple of days, and then it melts and
I,
goes
I,
away.
I lived 3 years in Montreal near this guy, and it gets like -40 down there. So basically, after my third year, I was pretty much like, "Fuck this! I'm moving my white ass back to Florida."
Yeah. Oh my. That's where
Yeah,
you're at now. I was in Florida.
yeah. No,
Florida's
you
really
actually
nice.
the weather out there, man. I think it just dips like the coldest. It'll dip below freezing for like a day or two, and then it'll bounce back. But
Yeah.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, so it doesn't get as bad as it does out here in the East Coast. That's for sure.
No, no, no. It's not bad at all. I moved here from Montana about 10 years ago, and Montana is probably a lot more like what you're used to,
Oh,
where it's
yeah, yeah,
snowing, cold as shit every year,
yeah.
every day, and you go outside and you're just dying.
Yeah. Oh
So
man, so
one,
tell us a little bit more of some of the projects that you were involved
yeah,
in. I'm
exactly.
very interested in the gaming stuff.
Well, exactly. So one thing I wanted to lead into that was specifically these days with what's going on with the protests and things like that. I think people are missing the point, right? And that is, people got it back in Occupy, right? Because they got it. The banks are fucking us. Everybody equally. This is the only equalism we have. We're all being fucked equally by the top 0.1% or whatever it
Yeah,
is,
yeah, no
right?
matter who you are, right?
Exactly. So
And then
now.
everybody rallied behind the one and only
Well,
cause.
exactly. So now they have us bickering over race, which is kind of like diverting us from the true issue, right? It's like why it was like something like 3,000 African American families were foreclosed upon by Bank of America alone, right? And I'll fact check that, but it was a huge number. So it's like they have us bickering over race. I'm like, what did I do? I'm on your side. I got
Yeah,
fucked too, right? So
yeah.
and part of the answer to that, I believe the great equalizing factor is, like you said, to basically divorce ourselves from this paradigm that we have, and to tie it into Chen's question, how do your apps and those projects that you spearheaded facilitate that?
Man, that's a really good question. And, I'm one of those people who, like you, I don't want to, I, I just don't, what do I have to do with this?
Yeah.
I'm not a political person. I went to high school like everybody else. I learned, American history, and I did one government class or whatever. And that's kind of the extent of my politics. So with this everything going on in the world, man, with I just don't even understand it, to be honest with you. And really, like I said, I don't think it has much to do with me or you guys, or on, you know, it's just,
Correct.
again, a distraction from kind of what's really
Well,
going on. There's this,
it's not a coincidence that Bank of America in particular donated $1 billion to Black Lives Matter. So it's kind of like, don't pay attention to the guy behind the curtain, you know?
well, right. I mean, and again, yeah, it's people that have that kind of money who are probably really pulling the strings, right?
Well, exactly. And they don't want the
Yeah,
focus on them. They don't want the spotlight on them.
Well,
yeah,
right, yeah, we need to have our turmoil and we need to be distracted, and I think it's always. I mean, I think I even remember as a child, you know, the adults would always talk about that. It's always that it's a distraction, it's a distraction,
yeah.
and I never
I
really
think they call it a
understood it.
misdirection. Um,
It's a great
Yeah,
term for it. Yeah.
misdirection,
yeah,
sure, but
a
what's a better
misdirection.
term?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, distraction makes it, you know, makes it so whatever we're looking at isn't really important. But the thing is the issues that we are misdirected towards are
exactly.
actually important
Yeah,
issues. So it's kind of a catch-22. Do you stop the big
yeah.
evil empire, or do you help out the little guy? And but as far as my games or the blockchain itself, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. I don't really, that's not how I work, you know, like if somebody wants to play my game, I don't care who you are, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So that's
Okay.
really
I
the
I
point.
just created something and I want everybody to have it. It's not about black or white or political affiliations, man. Because like honestly, and especially online, you know, I chat all the time. You know, I'm always online. I talk to people of all walks of life, and I mean, people have different views, and people clash, and we just kind of the human experience, you know what I mean? But in the end, we
Mhm.
all just kind of have like the same focus. We just want to be happy. We just
Right.
want to have our
That's
shit,
it.
you know. We want to have our weed. We want to have our wine, our beer. You know,
Oh
we
man,
just want to be
we got
happy.
so much to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Because I was really pondering this. What do you think is the role of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology within the microtransaction gaming space?
So I think that it's really, really important. So if you're going to talk microtransactions, first of all, it's the ledger, right? Like the fact that we're tracking every single microtransaction, whether they're free or they work with gas or however it works. The fact that we're tracking them and we can see from point A to point B what happened with that
Hmm.
money. That's
Hmm.
really, in my opinion, the most powerful thing, and it actually the probably the scariest part for corruption. Anybody who's trying to be corrupt and starts using a system like blockchain, you're gonna actually have a little bit of a harder time swindling people because we can see
Hmm.
exactly where that money went.
Yeah. So
Um,
Absolutely.
one thing that you brought up earlier about buying drugs with Bitcoin and stuff like that, that's a very common argument against cryptos.
yeah.
However, what we're forgetting is what is the most widely used currency for not only the sale of drugs but human trafficking, slavery, all this horrible shit. It's the US dollar. Okay, so let's, when we're talking about bad things, we still got to keep things in perspective.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, and I've mentioned that to people that they say that to me, man, like, oh well, they're buying drugs with the and it's helping
I mean,
organizations for
personally, I
this
say
and
who
that.
cares,
It's like,
but
dude,
that's
it's
just me.
of course it is. It's money. You don't
Yeah,
think gold does that or silver, or anything
right.
that has
Right.
value, man? So, if anything, that says something good about it is that somebody
Yeah.
who's in this shady world that'll whatever kill somebody if they don't pay them trusts this
Hmm.
cryptocurrency to make sure
That's it.
they can still get
Yeah.
paid. So I mean, for them, it's a lot more important, I would think, to get their money. You always see it in the movies, man. Give my money, So you're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
here's the crypto. Is that good? And they're like, yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, it must be real,
Man,
So
I think one of the biggest use cases, just going back to the microtransactions. I mean, because I used to game quite a bit, right? And like, I'll give you an example. Like, if you go on Fortnite, you got to buy Fortnite V-Bucks in order to buy the microtransactions there. But then once you put in $20 and something costs like $18 worth of transaction, let's say, you got like $2 left. And you can't buy anything with that, right? So like, I think blockchain can really help solve that issue, especially if you're able to take the amount of money that you put in and have it be platform compatible with other games. You know what I mean? So like you're
Yeah,
effectively
that's a
putting
good
money
point.
into an ecosystem where, you know, multiple games that have different microtransactions can use the same currency,
Yep, that's a
basically, right?
very good point. And yeah, to your point, if you look at Ethereum, that's exactly kind of the case with these ERC20 tokens or their
Yeah,
ERC71
Well, the
non-fungible
smart
tokens.
contracts in general too. Yeah.
Right,
yeah,
exactly. I mean, they're basically interchangeable, right? So
Right.
if,
Right.
let's say I create a game, an RPG or something, we have in-game currency in there, and then we buy some swords and whatnot, and then you have
yeah.
also have a game and it's an RPG. Well, I can take my sword or my ducats or whatever they are, and I can bring them over to your game. And
Yeah,
that is
exactly,
definitely,
exactly.
yes,
I
one
wonder
hundred
if anybody's
percent.
working on on solving that issue, because I think as a gamer, that's like one of my biggest pet peeves. You know, like you go buy some stuff on League of Legends, you know, and then you know you want to resell it to get some money
Yeah. So you
from
young
some
kids out
different
there, if you
platforms.
take this idea and you make it, you make $1 billion, just buy us a beer, okay?
Yeah, that's all I'm asking for, man. Just buy me a drink. I'm good.
You got it, you got it. But yeah, I
Oh
mean
man.
that's honestly a really good point is the microtransactions. I mean it kind of solidifies the whole thing too, where it's like, well, I bought these V-Bucks or whatever they are, the
Yeah.
Fortnite money or whatever, and then that's what it is.
Well,
And you can't ever,
my
like, you're not going to get your dollars back. You're not
yeah.
going to use that to exchange to another currency.
That
Hey,
money's
It's
gone.
in the
Yeah.
absolutely.
game. It belongs
It's
to them.
basically gone, right? It's
Yep.
you
It's
just gave it
basically
to the
gone.
developer. You basically just
Yep,
gave it to the
exactly.
developer. But what happens if you can get like a fraction of the money that you didn't spend back, you know, in the form of a crypto, and have it be used in a different video game, right?
Or even a store of
Right, or
value.
use for staking, right? A
Yeah,
lot
Yeah,
of
that's what I'm
companies
saying.
use
Yeah,
yeah.
the
There you
staking.
store of
Like,
go.
value. Yeah.
oh, I got like $2, whatever. I don't want it back, but what if I could put it in here and it like generates tools
Yeah.
over time, or
But
it becomes
the crazy thing is, Daniel, is that the esports market it has already exploded. Let's just get that out of the way.
oh yeah, oh,
It's already bigger than all the American sports, right? It's already
yeah.
exploded, and it's it's completely worldwide, right? I mean, like League of Legends, Fortnite is not just culturally dominant in one country like American football is. You know, it's
What's the
all
one
over
that
the
I used
world.
to play? StarCraft 2.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
Oh
a
StarCraft,
man,
right?
yeah,
huge one.
that's
You know,
famous.
so that I think,
Classic.
I mean, like man, if anybody out there is trying to solve that problem for gamers, man, I think there's a lot of money to be
Yeah.
made there if they can, if they can use blockchain technology to help solve that issue.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. There's so much. It's not about just like getting rich on Bittrex or Binance. It's not what crypto is
No,
about.
man.
Maybe in the
No,
beginning
man.
because that's all it was. But like now, man, it's fucking powerful technology, man. It's a
Yeah,
so
man.
it's created, dude, and like
Look, I
it's
think,
growing and it's getting arms now, and it's it's
man,
feeling
man, I
around
think
and seeing
I,
what it
I
can
think to your point there, man, like if anybody this is for anybody who's listening, any young people, I think my advice to people is that, if you start a business with the intention of getting rich, I think you're doing it wrong. You should start a
yeah.
business with the intention of solving problems. And the problems that you solve will bring value to the people that you solved that problem for, and the money will follow.
Well, it's kind of like trading, right?
100%.
If you get into the business of trading, just trying to make money, you're guaranteed to fail because you're going to
Yeah.
sit there and look at that P&L, and every time it dips below zero, you're going to be like, you want to focus on your risk management, okay? And your risk management, if done properly, will just beget money, right? So if you're focusing on a business and you're solving a problem, you're producing something. We had a great guest actually last time, right? Jim Chong, and he was basically talking about the difference between productive and non-productive assets, right? A non-productive asset, you buy a bar of gold, it doesn't actually produce anything. It may appreciate in value, but it doesn't do anything. You put
Right.
that time, that focus, that money into a business, all right, and if you do it right, all of a sudden that business will start being productive and start generating income. But I can tell you from us here at Go Squawk that road is a hard road. You don't just go into that road and be like, it's like the South Park episode. Step 1, collect underpants. Step 2, ... Step 3,
Oh, I
profit.
love it. I say that all the time. I say that all the time. I use
Yeah.
that almost daily.
Yeah.
The underpants gnomes, dude,
Shout
brilliant.
shout outs to Jim Chong for that advice. He's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
very, very great
That's
guy for
super
that.
good advice, and it is. And
Yeah.
and I kind of say, there's like the hodl gang or whatever hashtag, and I'm thinking biddle gang, like build something.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you
there you
can
go.
build
There you
it,
go. I
So
like
yeah,
that.
biddle
here's
gang,
like our
right?
stance
Yeah,
on it.
man.
Our stance on it as crypto kind of evangelists, I guess you could say, is adoption, Okay, so I don't want you to just buy Bitcoin and hold it. I want you to, go on Craigslist and buy a sofa with it. Buy a coffee with it if your neighborhood coffee store accepts it. And
Buy electronics with it. Newegg's been
right.
accepting it for years.
Right. So how do we do that? Well, we need to have apps that support those transactions, because I still think, even though there's some great apps out there, I still think that, we have a little bit of a way to go. If I send Bitcoin to an Ethereum address, I'm just fucked, right? So I think that apps like yours are going to help people to get into the game and use these things as something other than just like, okay, I have some Ethereum in a cold wallet and I'm just waiting.
Well, right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and especially with, back to Ether Chest, thanks for saying that. Yeah, it does. It gives you entry, it gives you entry into the space. And again, it's an ecosystem. We've got the ducats and we've got the gems and we've got all these different things and these mechanisms to kind of make it more fun, where it's almost like, you put your money in there, you can't even touch it. And in most cases, especially with Ethereum 2.0, in the first couple of years, we're not even going to be able to touch it. Any of the validators, that's locked, So how do you solve that issue of liquidity? And that's kind of what these ducats and gems and everything do that I use within the ecosystem.
Sure. So
And
let's talk about that for a second. So let's say
yeah,
I'm brand new to this. I want to get involved. I want to use my my Ethereum, get started in staking. Not really sure what staking is quite yet. What would you tell that person? How do they get involved, and what can your app do for them?
yeah, absolutely. To be 100% fair, if you're a complete noob and you've never really been in the crypto space at all, then honestly, I don't know if this is going to be the best service, because this is, blockchain validation on the Ethereum 2.0 blockchain is more advanced, and it takes more of a commitment, something that somebody who just got into the game may not even be willing to do. I mean, who wants to give their money to a project that it's going to give you very little return, 4 to 10% at best?
Wrong answer. You got to
It's going to
pitch
take
this. You
2
got to pitch
years.
this.
It's
Wrong answer, man. You got to pitch this for people who
listen,
have no clue what the fuck they're doing. You want to pitch the
right.
game
So just
angle of it.
so that's I mean, you just have to. I want to start off with that because people need to be really aware of the fact, and they need to be educated about what they're doing. Now, the best part about Ether Chest, of course, is that we do make it a lot easier for anybody to get involved. That you don't have to give us 12 grand. You can start off with 0.1 Ethereum. You can get into the game slowly. You know what I mean? And kind of get your feet wet with it. So as somebody who's new to staking, let's say you know about cryptocurrency. Well, that's good. Okay, now you're probably more of a customer, base of mine. You've heard of mining. Mining produces rewards. As transactions come through, they get solved. Kind of the same deal. So with proof of stake, they use an algorithm. They use a portion of your money to kind of prove that these transactions are valid. It's a bit of a complicated process that I still am trying to understand. But so you're earning rewards doing kind of the same thing as you would mining Bitcoin. The only difference is that you put money into an account, you promise not to touch it, and it kind of produces dividends as you would like in a bank. Like you put your money in a bank and supposedly you're supposed to make money over time on that.
Correct.
So it's very similar to this.
So what kind of dividends are we talking about?
We're talking in the first year, it's looking like about 10 to 12%. So the way it works, and I'll send over a link to you, but it's at Beacon Chain. They actually have a calculator. So over time, as more Ethereum is locked, it'll reach a point to where it'll be at about 4%. So it's not get rich quick. It's nothing like that at all. It's put your money in a stable ecosystem, use all the things within that, and earn passively, but not focus on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This isn't
I'm glad
about
that you
getting rich.
mentioned. I'm glad that you mentioned the word stable, right? Because I think still to this day, people have this idea of cryptocurrencies from like 2017, right, where it was just mooning and people were, Lambos and all that, and nobody really had any idea what they were doing. They were just kind of sloshing money back and forth and hoping for the best, right? Throwing darts at a wall, and
People still think that Lambo will come back again one day.
Exactly. So that's
He's gonna do a circle and come back and get them, pick them up.
Yeah, it's coming back around, man.
So that's inherently not sustainable, right? So
Yeah.
all the people who come onto our Discord, sometimes we have like 15-year-old kids coming onto our Discord saying, hey, like they're smart enough at 15 years old to say, what can I do to start now, right? And I think that what you
Amazing.
said is so very important about the stability of these things, right? So my answer to that is like, look, find yourself some dividend bearing ETFs, buy them on dips, just start accumulating a position. And I would say the same advice for exactly what you're talking about with the staking.
Yep.
Whenever you can afford it, maybe the price dips a little bit, maybe you got a bonus or something like that, put some money into a staking account or something like that, because it generates income for you. It generates dividends.
Yeah, and it's
Daniel,
not this wild, crazy ups and downs.
Correct.
You can
yeah.
count on it, right?
Yeah, correct.
Daniel, can you explain to myself, because I'm not as knowledgeable about cryptocurrency on that level as Daniel or the other Daniel.
Double D's.
Double, yeah, the two double D's here.
Nice.
But
Hey,
can,
good
can,
name.
can you? I recently got onto BlockFi because we spoke with Girl Gone Crypto. So shout out to
Leah Thompson, yeah.
Leah Thompson. I got onto BlockFi because they were paying interest at a much higher rate than you would if you were to put your money into a savings account at a bank. And they were paying, roughly within the range of like 6 to 10%, depending on which cryptocurrencies you deposit. Can you explain to me and to some of the other viewers who are not as knowledgeable about crypto, what's the difference between having my cryptos on a platform like BlockFi versus staking? Because it seems to me they're accomplishing the same thing from the user's perspective.
So to be honest with you, I have never used BlockFi. So you maybe have to explain to me a little bit more what it is.
So BlockFi just acts as like a cryptocurrency bank, so to speak. I mean, you're effectively lending them your cryptos, and
they're probably trading with your money.
No, so it's very stable. It's very stable.
I can tell. So I don't. So again, I don't know much about their service, and it might be great, but I can tell you. So the main thing to take away with EtherChest is that we're not trading with the money.
Okay.
The money what's generated comes directly from the block production. Mm-hmm. So this is why I never used to give people any kind of number about, well, how much can I make, and I'm like, well, I don't know, that's not guaranteed. However, with this kind of a system, we know that 32 Ethereum is going to generate 0.001024 Ethereum per day. We know this, and we can count on it.
And there's basically no risk involved, right?
Well, there's risk. Of course, there's risk. I mean, if the price of Ethereum tanks to zero or nothing,
well,
then who cares if I made
sure,
one?
Yeah.
Of course. But
well,
what I'm saying
I guess
is
it requires market stability in terms of the price for
that
Ethereum.
and stability of the system, right? The stability of this staking process has been long proven. I mean, long proven in the crypto world, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we can guarantee that within the ecosystem itself, we're going to have this stability. We can count on this crypto coming in, right? We have a validator, which our validator, this gives us a prediction over time. I can predict what we'll be making in 10 years in Ethereum off of this one validator. So instead of it being like, well, I don't know, man, if I do good today, then I might make 1% or whatever. We don't even have to worry about that. It's just like, okay, cool.
So
here's our currency.
Let me reiterate this just from my perspective, because again, like I said, I'm not as knowledgeable and I don't quite understand this from your level. But correct me if I'm wrong. So you effectively have Ethereum that you would deposit in some type of like a software, which would then sit there, do its staking, and then you would be rewarded with more Ethereum at a very low risk type of return with more Ethereum.
Right, exactly. So exactly. So
Okay.
when you put it in those terms, then absolutely. So what you're looking at is you put in your $40 or whatever it is, a 0.1 Ethereum, let's say. then within that ecosystem, it's all kind of set. It's all taken care of. So the risk is a lot lower at that point. We're taking care of the
Oh,
security.
okay.
We're taking, right. So we're taking kind of the risk out of it in that respect. However, I can't guarantee you what the price of Ethereum is ever going to be.
Well, no,
So,
Of course,
that's
yeah.
so when
determined
you're
by
looking at it
the market
Yeah,
mechanisms,
yeah,
right? I
and
mean,
full
that's the
disclaimer,
part.
no investment is ever risk-less.
It's the
Okay,
same.
absolutely.
what I meant
Exactly.
by risk-less is that the returns that are generated for the people, regardless of the price of Ethereum, is locked into the algorithm itself. Okay,
So,
so
so the return is basically a mathematical formula based upon
correct.
how much Ethereum you put into the system. That is the riskless part because it is run by math. The
Correct.
the outside risk is the market risk for the price of Ethereum, if I'm correct.
That's absolutely correct.
100%.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, I mean it's very interesting, and thank you very much for explaining that to myself because now I understand it a lot better, and I'm pretty sure a lot of our viewers, for those who are not very involved in this space, they probably learned quite a bit from that. But yeah, I mean, with BlockFi, they are essentially I would say they're investing your currency, but it's done in a way in which it's very low risk. Some of the guys who are running this is very reputable, and it was referred to us by people in the cryptocurrency space that are quite influential. So that's why I hopped on it. But based on our conversation here, I'm actually really interested in the staking now. So I want to learn more and dabble in more with this. So if I want to get my Ethereum onto the network for staking, how would I go about doing that?
Okay, so basically, there's a couple of different ways. Of course, you can deal with our people directly via email or Discord. Go on our website. But really, the best way to do it, the kind of decentralized way to do it, is that you send us. So I need to explain something before we kind of go into this. Now, I just want to reiterate that it's going to take probably a year and a half to 2 years for any actual Ethereum rewards to be released, meaning any of the rewards that are produced during staking in the beginning of this Ethereum 2.0 project it's going to be locked. You're not going to be able to touch that. I won't be able to touch it. Nobody that's a validator will be able to touch not only their stake, but their rewards.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've done is we've created this concept of ducats, where it's an ERC20 token that is basically representative of the rewards that you're generating. So we have two mechanisms: an NFT, non-fungible token, which represents the stake that you have inside of the system. You put in, let's say, 1 Ethereum, then you get what we call a diamond. That's your NFT. That's kind of your ticket into the system. It proves that you are the owner of that stake. Now, since we can't give you Ethereum right away, we've created this ERC20 token called ducats. Now, the ducats are representative of the rewards that your gem is earning. So you have kind of this liquid asset that you can use not only inside of our marketplace to purchase and sell gems, but you can go onto a DEX and now you can trade it back into Ethereum. And all of a sudden, we've created this kind of way to a bridge, if you will, during the time
Sure. So
that
it's a proxy, right?
everything's locked. It's
Kind of
like
like
a
a
proxy.
But if I take the ducats, as you say, if I take those and let's say I cash them out or I do something with them, then I won't be entitled to that stake later on. Is that
So
correct?
check this. No, not quite. The NFT, that gem, is what actually guarantees you your stake. So as long as whoever owns the gem, so you have that diamond, it's worth 1 Ethereum. If you own that, then you're the one receiving the ducats. If you sell it to Dan or you give it to him, and then it will be his wallet which receives the
Fair enough.
ducats.
Okay.
So right, but you can take the ducats and yeah, you can throw those into the exchange. You can get Ethereum back for them or whatever it may be.
Or you could cycle
And
them back in and put, yeah.
exactly. Cycle them back in to where now it's up to you whether I forget what it's called, rebuy or whatever, where they, companies will allow you to kind of buy back into the system, and this puts it gives you this option, and it puts the control in your hands to where you're like, I got ducats. Do I really want to go into
That's a cool
BTC
concept.
and ETH, or do I want to kind of split it up? And
So not
Oh, okay. I kind of get it.
Not only
I
are
think
you
in the investment world, they call that a DRIP.
Yeah.
A dividend reinvestment plan.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean,
Yeah,
and that
I
would
was
be
actually just
fine,
going to make that analogy. I do that with my stocks. But
Yeah,
so not only
exactly. So
are we
people
getting
may or may not want to do that kind of a thing, right? So,
Sure,
but we give people the option.
But the point is, not only are we getting our stakes from, let's say we have one diamond, right? That will generate a certain amount of stake in time, year and a half, whatever. But I'm also getting those NFTs from you that I can do what I want with them.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's a great plan.
100%, right.
What is Squawk AI? Imagine political leaders like the US president saying we need to delist Chinese companies from US exchanges, or the Federal Reserve chairman saying the economy faces additional headwinds. What does that mean for the financial markets or financial asset classes like FX, stocks, bonds, commodities, or cryptocurrencies, and how would they react to such breaking news headlines? Without any context or an understanding of financial market jargon, traders and investors might have a difficult time understanding these breaking news headlines and applying it to trading or investing strategies. With the Squawk's artificial intelligence technology that's applying machine learning and natural language processing to real-time breaking news headlines, Ghosty is able to analyze and summarize in real-time breaking news from relevant sources and social media to display risk sentiment analysis for any given asset classes, giving traders and investors alike an edge in the markets using AI technology. Ghosty is able to use NLP to understand the context of breaking news headlines and communicate this information to anyone, in any language, regardless of the native language of the original headline. By using similar natural language processing and machine learning technology that is found in Apple's Siri or Amazon's Alexa, Ghosty is able to become the virtual assistant for all financial market participants. Find out more about Squawk's artificial intelligence technology today at www.ghostsquawk.com.
Man,
Yeah,
that's fantastic, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the NFT really locks it in. I think that's kind of the really foundational part of this is that's the proof of ownership. This is your kind of your security badge in the ecosystem. When you come into our ecosystem, now we know that it's you because you own a gem of ours, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Man, that's fantastic, man. Well, thank you very much for sharing that information.
Yes, and it was a real honor to have you on our show. We're coming up on the time limit. We always respect our guest time, so we really appreciate you having on. We will definitely be adding these links to the description. I will definitely be sending you some Ethereum.
Oh, man. Sounds great, man. Looking forward to talking to you guys and working with you guys in the future. It's been a lot of fun.
Hey,
awesome.
Well, thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers,
stay
Daniel.
safe out in Portland, and we'll keep in touch. You can keep in touch with us through all of our social media. We will have this show edited, and before the release, we will definitely send you a link so you can kind of like share it with all of your social media links and whatnot. And
killer.
Please help us out by blasting this on your social media. Some of our guests sometimes I don't understand if you've been on a podcast, why don't you want to like blow that up? So if you could kind of help us out with your social media, show us some love, that'd be really, really appreciated.
Yeah, and you guys don't mind if you even start kind of spreading the news that this happened.
Absolutely,
I'll tell everybody, man. And I'm proud of it. I like being on things like this. I really, really, really. I mean, I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate it. It's great. I got to get the word out, and I want people to see me, especially during these times. I can't go to a convention. I can't, I want people to be able to look into my eyes. I want them to see that I'm just a person like everybody else trying to do something.
I want people to see how goddamn good looking I am.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you nailed it. No, seriously, thank you guys so much. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Yep, this has been GSE number 17. Keep it spooky, guys. Hashtag what drink am I?
Hashtag what drink are you?
What drink are you? Take care.
Take care.